Hello fashion lovers, welcome to my channel. And today's video, it is this asymmetric wrap vest. Okay, you all know female women's vest has been trending and it comes in different ways, but in this particular video, this is what we are making. This particular one, you can see how it is. You tie it, okay, you take it to the other side, you tie it to, is a wrap asymmetric vest. Okay, that is what we'll be trading in this video. If it is what you are interested, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All right, and if you have any question, drop it on the comment section. Let's go. So this is the calculation I'm working with. Shoulder 16 divided by 2, it gives me 8 plus 40, waist 32, hip 42, half length 16, blouse length 24 plus 1.5, and my bust point is 10. All right, now this vest you can work with 2 darts, you can work with French dart, you can work with princess dart or waist dart, but in this video, in the front pattern of it, I will be using a princess dart. The back pattern of it, I'll be using a normal waist dart. So the allowances I added 3 inches is because of the princess that I will be using. All right, so when you divide your bust, waist and hip, whatever it gives you, you add 3 inches because of your the dart you're to use. So if you're using just a waist dart all through, you can go less, but 3 inches should be your lowest. All right, now you all know the first thing to do is to fold. Now what do you fold? You have to fold your highest measurement, which is your hip measurement, plus this dart allowance, which is 3 inches plus 5. All right, your highest measurement plus 5. After you have done the calculation, your highest measurement plus 5, that is what you fold. So what I folded now is 18. Okay, because my hip is 10.5. After division I added 3, that is 3, and that is 13.5 plus 5 is giving me 18.5. That is what I fold. I even folded more than 18. Okay, so have that at the back of your mind. That is what you fold. So once you are folded, you mark. Now what are you marking first? The first thing you are to mark is your 5 inches. It can either be any part. It can be here, it can be the unfolded side, it can be the open side. Whichever place you decide to start from is okay. So you are marking 5. Now this 5 is like an overlap. All right, overlap allowance or extension, whatever, but it is 5 you're marking. It's not compulsory, it must be 5. It can be 6, it can be 4, whichever one you choose. But for this video, I am working with 5. So you have between 4 to 6 to choose what to do. All right, but I'm working with 5. All right, so I am marking the 5 inches. That is my overlap extension. All right, my 5 inches. All right, which is my overlap allowance, my overlap allowance, you can call it extension, just let's take it, just know that it is 5 inches you mark ahead. Now once you have done that, you start from the end of that 5 inches and start marking every other of your measurement. I'm starting with my shoulder. All right, shoulder 8. Okay, you know how we do it anyway. So you mark your shoulder 8, mark your armhole, mark your waist half length, mark your blouse length. But for my armhole in this video, in this tutorial, I'm using 8, okay, for my armhole. All right, and my waist, I'll equally mark my bust point because this is the front. Okay, remember I told you I'll be using a princess dart, so I need my bust point. That is what I marked. I used 10 as my bust point. My half length is 16, and the next measurement is my blouse length. Now my blouse length is 24. Yeah, the total length of this blouse is 24. So my blouse length is 24, and that is the end of it. Once you've done that, I'll be using rule to connect it properly, so it will be properly shown. So I'm connecting the lines the way it should be. I'm connecting my waist equally and the blouse length, which is 24. I'm giving in a proper straight line. All right, now having done this, the next thing I'll equally mark right at the first line, I'll equally mark right here. I'll mark the shoulder, which is 8, and take the rule, connect it straight, give it that straight line. Once I've done that, the next thing I'll start marking out my measurement the way it should be, starting with my bust. Remember, I have bust 40 divided by 4, which gave me 10, and plus 3, so I'm marking 13 in total. First, this is my shoulder bust BP, this is my W, and this is my hip. Okay, so once it's ready, that means we are almost there. Now I'll start marking out the actual measurement, starting with the bust. Now watch where I place my tape. I did not start from where the pattern started. No, I went after the 5 inches. That is where my measurement started coming in. All right, so once you have marked your 5 inches, your other measurements start from that where the 5 ended. So you can see how I placed for my waist. You can see it, my waist is 8.5 plus 3, that gives us 11, and the hip is accurate. So let's just connect this way. All right, now we have gotten our basic allowance. Once we have gotten to this extent, the next thing we need to curve our armhole. And for us to curve our armhole, so the next thing is for us to curve our armhole, and you can see how I'm placing my French curve. But first, let me get the actual bust measurement without sewing allowance. That is the point where it is good. That is where I'll place my armhole to cut. You already know this is the front, and the armhole comes in a little bit by 1/2 inches. All right, so I've cut my armhole. The next thing, from the bust point, you start marking your nipple to nipple, and for my own nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 4, the 2, which gives us 4 plus 1/2 inches. So what I marked straight now is 4.5. All right, this is 4.5 that I marked. I'll use rule and connect them. Now what is this for? This is for my princess dart. Now you already know what makes a princess dart. It is waist dart and armhole dart that makes a princess dart. Okay, so I will be marking my waist dart. You know how we mark our waist dart. 1/2 inches is taken from the waistline. So I'm marking half from each side. You place your rule, connect. Turn the other one, place, connect. Turn this one to place and connect. This way, place and connect. Now, once you have gotten to this level, we are almost done. Yeah. Now, what next is for us to indicate the point where our mid armhole. All right, for this video I will be using 5 inches for my mid armhole. That is where I indicated. I placed my tape, and that is 5 inches. So I'll just place my French curve, connect the both of them this way. This is what makes a princess dart. Okay, your armhole and normal waist dart gives you your princess dart from the armhole. Okay, so once it is properly connected, the next thing is to curve this down. All right, it is too sharp and we don't need it sharp, so you place your French curve this way and you curve. Once you have done this, next thing is to look at the front of this dress. The type of neckline will say a V, abi, but first thing first, let's mark our neck width. For this, I'm using 3.5 as my neck width. You have seen that. Now, what is my neck depth? My neck depth, I'll be going for 7. All right, I'm working with neck depth 7. Okay, now I don't know what you think would be the perfect neck depth, but if you think it's 7, 8, let me know in the comment section. But for this video, I am working with 7. Now, when you look at this wrap, you can see it went under the armhole. You can see how it slanted. All right, it went to the waist kind of. So from the shoulder, you measure either 11, you measure 13, whichever one you measure, it is okay. So from the shoulder, I connected to the 7, then I connected to the 13, which is my under bust. Let's get there. Now, where did I get that from? 1 inches below, you can give it a curve. Okay, now I measure when I slanted it. it didn't get to where I want the depth to be. You can use your French curve and curve. Now, where did I get 13 from? Where this vest, the part where you can see where they tied it in the video earlier, the connectivity, that particular place is below the bust. That is where I got my 13 from, which is my armhole. So you come 1 inches, away from the darts and connect. That is 1 inches that I marked away from the dart. You can use your rule this way, but this rule is not given. It is too short. So let me get a longer rule. All right, this is it. All right, you connect. All right, now this is it. Now remember I first slanted and I did freehand again. Now let's check the point at which this two dress, this meeting point you're seeing here is 18. Mine is 18. That means it will cover properly. If you want yours to be showing your navel, your tummy, you can go up. Let's try and see if we can get that one. All right, now first thing first, you have to increase. You can see here gives us 11. The second place gives us 13. All right, for us to have a exposing center, we need it to connect at 11. But another thing is, if you watch, you equally do freehand and connect it back. Okay, you want the up covered but the down show you. Now you place your tape this way. Now let's measure. This is where it will meet and it will be, let's know, from here to here gives us you can see it gives us about 16. All right, it gives us about 16. So if you want it more deeper, this is where you go, you take up. Now the next thing is you have to slant your shoulder. Definitely you cannot do without slanting your shoulder. So that is my shoulder that I just slanted there. All right, now looking at this, we are almost done, or rather we are done. Okay, we just need the back out, cut the back, and we are good. So watch me while I cut. Okay, now I'm going for the original cutting, not the other one. Now let me explain something. How do you finish this dress, this vest? Two ways of finishing this vest, only two ways. The two ways are full lining, one. The second way is facing. And for you to use facing, your fabric has to have a kind of a thickness, a firmness, before you can use facing. But if you're working with linen, Dolces and the rest of them, it has to be a full lining. All right, maybe cotton lining or any kind of lining you wish to use. Now we have gotten our front. Let's go for our back. You already know, first thing you fold. All right, now I folded the fabric. Remember, there is no extension at the back. There is no overlap extension. It's just our normal basics. Okay, so when you fold with the highest measurement, you mark your shoulder. Just like we did earlier, you mark your armhole. I'm still using the same 8 inches as my armhole. All right, now my half length is 16. All right, and my blouse length is equally the 25 I used earlier. No difference. Okay, so when you mark them out, you mark your other bases. Now let me explain something. The differences in this back is, one, there is no overlap. Secondly, the neck in this back is high back. All right, thirdly, you can use any kind of dart. You can probably use a French princess dart or a waist dart, but in this video I'm using a normal waist dart. Okay, and so when you're doing all this, you need to consider the allowances you add to it. All right, now I've curved my armhole, which gives you more like it. So I'll start marking. Now in this video, I'll be marking my accurate measurement plus 2 inches. You see, my accurate measurement plus 2 inches. My waist is 8.5 plus 2 inches. My hip is 10.5. Sorry, 10.5. All right, plus 2 inches. That is my 2 inches. Why am I using 2 inches all through? You know, the front I use 3. This back I am using 2 inches as my sewing allowance, because the dart I decide to use is a normal waist dart. All right. Now, having done that, the next thing to do is just curve. All right. The same way we curved this part, we equally need to curve this other part too. Once it's curved this way, the next thing is for us to work on the neck width. Now, in all your dresses, neck width are always the same with front and back. So that is 3.5. All right. What of the depth? I'm using 2 inches as my neck depth for the back. So 3.5 inches for the neck width, 2 inches for the neck depth. As simple as ABCD. You slant your shoulder, then you curve. All right, curve. This is how we curve it. Okay, our back is ready. No much thing needed. All right, then you cut. Okay, now you all know how we do our normal waist dart. That is just it. Finish. All right, no much thing needed. And just like I said earlier, the back equally can be finished with lining. It can be finished with facing. It can equally be finished with bias on the neck. The neckline can be finished with bias. The sleeve equally can be round, armhole roundness can be finished with bias. But that front cannot be finished with bias. It has to be facing or lining. All right. So we cut and our back is ready. All right. Now let's know, let's check if what we've been doing since is, coming out fine. What we have been doing since what we been cutting, if we got our designs. Okay, this is the back. All right. Now, before placing this, let me place this together and cut the shoulder. I did not, the slanted shoulder was not cut, so I need to cut it. All right. You can see it has not been cut, and the back shoulder was cut, so we have to cut the slant aft, which I've done. Please let me know on the comment section if if we got if it is given. All right, if we got the pattern right. Okay, now you can see it very well. What you just do is the rope or the tie or whatever will be added by the side. Okay, and the tips here, 1. All right, you add here 2. Okay, and here, these 2 places first, and equally here. Okay, or you can use button. You can use button if you decide. It's your choice. Now you can see how it looks. Now this dart has not been cut off. We'll still cut it off, but the best thing to do is finish sewing your dart before you cut the down part of this dress. Now let's take this off and cut our dart. Make sure you're finished the sewing of your dart before you start giving it that V that is down. The down V. All right. Make sure you finish sewing your dart, joining it back, because you will be cutting it through and you will need to join it back. So after joining it back, that is when you start giving it that sharp V. All right, that way you don't get to make mistake and no part will be shorter than the other. All right, so this is our front. Now if you have any question, please drop it on the comment section. What I'll do right now is take this pattern paper, place it on fabric and cut, and I'll start sewing. All right, I look forward to your question.